Yuwen has probably told you why we invited you here. So we're offering this course that covers all of Chinese history. Actually goes back to the Neolithic period, right? The Xin Shi Qi, yeah, and goes right to Xi Jinping, right? Covers philosophy, art, literature, politics, economy, covers everything. And we're putting this online as one of these massive open online courses. And one of the things that I thought would be very valuable would be if you could tell students in America and in France, but also those people who watch in China, why it is you study what you study. Right? None of you, unfortunately, study the really best dynasty in all of Chinese history. The most important dynasty in all of Chinese history. Do you know what that is? The most important dynasty? Qing? What do you think?
Maybe Qing.
Maybe Qing?
Song.
Song, yes, of course, the Song dynasty. Right? But I'm of course joking. When I first went to China in 1985, somebody said to me, "What do you study?" And I said, "The Song dynasty." They said, "很可惜." Now the Tang dynasty, he said, "That's a good dynasty." Song dynasty is too weak. Not worth studying the Song dynasty. But I actually think the Song dynasty was very important. Yan Fu said, for better or for worse, 80 or 90% of what China is today in the late Qing comes from the Song dynasty. I'm not sure he was right, but there is a sense that the Song was the beginning of what we might call the later half, the second half of Chinese history. A new beginning, in any case. But, so we have to figure out what you think what Americans should know about your period. What are the 2 or 3 most important things you'd like them to think about if they're taking a course in Chinese history? And then I'd like to know what you're interested in, why you think it's important, and why you think it's relevant to today. But let's go back in time. Let's begin with the Cold War, and then Liu Zhen with contemporary China. Contemporary China is how contemporary?
Almost from 1949.
Okay. So that's sort of the Cold War period too. So let's begin with the two of you. You're studying the Cold War, but also China is part of the Cold War.
Yes.
What should we tell our American students about this period of China's history?
I think the most important things is nowadays in American, and there are many misunderstanding of the Cold War of the part of China, because I think most American students think the socialist campus is monolithic, but in fact it's not. And there are many different ways of the developing road in the socialist campus, especially in the foreign affairs. The China and the Soviet Union is very different.
Right. So I think you're right. That's very important. That we talk sometimes about the Sino-Soviet split, yes. Right? When Russia or the Sulian Soviet Union and the People's Republic go off in different ways. I began to study China just when the Cultural Revolution began, right? And China was becoming a scary place. We didn't know it at first. We didn't know that there were fights going on in China, but China accused the Soviet Union of shoujiangjui, right? Of revisionism, right? So. Liu Zhen,
yes.
What do you want Americans to know about modern Chinese history or contemporary Chinese history?
First, if you ask me why I'm interested in the modern Chinese history, first, this history is so close to our lives today, and many of things, just our minds, our way of doing things, they both have the connections with modern history, especially the recent about 60 years history. Second, I think as foreigners, if they want to understand and have a deep understanding of Chinese society and our Chinese people's thinking. I recommend them, and I think they should study in this history. I think if you study this period, I believe you can get a different idea and get a different impression, because we have our history and our Chinese people have our own experience and our own thinking way. Maybe you study it deeper, you can get a deeper understanding.
So let me ask you a question. Before we do that, let me also bring in Tang Yin Lu, because you do also fairly modern history, right? What do you want people to know about your period, the period you study? What's important for American students?
For both American students and the Chinese students, I think this period is more 被过分重视, because there's a Mingguo favor.
Mingguo, like Mingguo of the Republic of China.
Yeah.
A great deal of interest in the Republic of China.
Okay, and the Republic of China favor in this period. But one thing we should know that is politics is politics, but history is history. History is not that different from now or from the ancient times.
Okay, so are you saying that history is not that different? That history is constant? That there are things that are constant through history? And so the ancient times and the late Shang or early Republic are related to similar to each other?
Yeah, I think difference is because of the propaganda, but not about the real difference.
Oh, that's it. So that's an interesting claim to make, right?